Alright guys, today we're going to be installing this set of gauges. It's going to be a coolant temp, volts, and oil pressure gauge. And basically there's a line that runs to your temperature sensor, there's a tube that runs to your oil pressure, and then you wire your volts up to a switched power. You want to run it through the firewall, find your hole. There's, they're everywhere on every kind of car. We got them over here, and there's a bunch of them. There's one under the booster down there. We ran out the new tubing for the oil pressure carefully. It's fragile, it's kind of hard plastic. We used warm water. Then I ran my new temperature sensor. I'll run the temperature sensor here, and our oil pressure sensor is right here. With the kit we have, this is Equus. So it's kind of the cheaper thing you buy at AutoZone. It comes with instructions, it comes with adapters. It comes with the oil pressure fitting to crimp the line. Here's one of the adapters for coolant. I have previously bought these. These are intake plugs. So I put my coolant sensor, and here that is. It's broken, as you can see, useless. We're gonna go ahead and get everything hooked up and ready to go. We're gonna put the sensor in here and install it all to the engine, and then we'll show you how we're gonna wire it all up. Okay, so with this oil pressure fitting, you want to be very careful, because this one is what crimps your oil pressure line, and it has this little piece in, and this little piece is what actually does crimp it and installs it into this part here. So it's a good thing to use thread seal or Teflon tape on here. 2 or 3 wraps should be plenty. Get that nice and neat. Alright guys, on to the next part. I put that fitting way back here in the back part, so when I go ahead and run this line down to the oil pressure fitting, I don't drop it down behind my engine and screw myself over. Here's the oil pressure fitting. So this is the same concept. There's a little piece in here. You gotta be careful with it, don't lose it. It's gonna crimp the line. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that part real quick. We got the coolant sensor in. It's pretty self-explanatory. You put it in, it's gonna leak, so do it fast. Put the oil pressure sensor in. Here we are. Here's your coolant temperature sensor. The oil pressure line. This is gonna be my volts gauge. Alright guys, so when you're coming up to wire these gauges, whether it's the lights, whether it's the volts gauge, you want to find switched power basically like this. You go ahead and find your fuse up here, test it with the test light. If it's switched, it'll turn on and off when you turn the key on and off. And there you go, that's the fuse we're going to be using to wire everything. Okay guys, so we're finishing up the wiring here, and I figured I'd show you what we're doing so you guys can understand too. Basically, there's a ground and a power, and all these gauges have, the volts is specifically a ground and a power, and then the lights have a ground and a power. So what we've done is we took all of our grounds, which are these black wires, and tied them all 3 to one to an orange wire, which is our ground. And then here's our ground right here, this red and green one. Kind of hard to see with the camera. Red and green right here is our ground for the volts meter. Here's our power for the volts meter. And all these wires, the white ones down here, are the power for the lights on the gauges. So they're as well tied in all 3 together to one. So what I did is right here, I connected all those wires to one. And here's a power wire right here, this red wire. There's our other power wire right there, red and white. There's our 2 grounds, green and orange. So when I tie them all together, here it is, green and orange. Kind of hard to see, there you go. green and orange with a red stripe. Here's all of our power, red and white, and a solid red. So the power is gonna go here. That's switched, so when I turn the key, it gives it power. And we're gonna go ahead and ground our ground. Focused. I'm gonna ground it up here to this little tiny bolt. And then we'll get back to you and show you if everything's working. So, got everything wired up. It appears everything's in working order. The final and only test left is to go and start the vehicle and look at the temp and see the oil pressure and see stuff moving and